Oh, really? Oh, ew. Stupid fucking voices. And they...
Let's not give it loud for everybody for Anthony Eugenio. We're going to have a guest calling. Very funny. Wayne Russell, everybody.
Welcome to the Open My Pain with Anthony and Wayne podcast.
Was a Therendale's Force there with Legolas's father. Pretty cool.
Hmm. Yeah, it just got to the point where they escaped.
It's pretty deep. What is there, 20 chapters in the book then? So you gotta be pretty deep into there.
Yeah, I think there's like 300 something pages. I think I'm on page like 70 or something like that.
So did he meet Gollum? No, huh? I thought that's how they escaped, because that's where they were trapped. Oh, no, they're trapped with the Wood Elves. That's how they... Okay. Lord of the Rings. Tolkien. Get me, buddy.
But yeah,
all right, let's start this thing.
I am enjoying it.
Goddamn right you are. I can't wait for you to get to Lord of the Rings. I know far too much about those books. Far.
The writing is interesting. The way he writes is like he'll make mention of something like, as I told you earlier. It's like he's legitimately like telling you a story.
Yeah, he doesn't do that in the rest of the books. But The Hobbit is the reason why he wrote The Hobbit the way he did was it was literally a story he told his kids. He just started making up a story when they sat around the fire to keep his kids entertained.
Yep.
And it became the story of The Hobbit. So he kind of wrote in that style. And then Lord of the Rings was his, like, here's an adult version in that world was what he was going for. So it's a little bit more, there's a lot more slaughter in it.
Interesting.
A lot more war stuff and all that. Like The Hobbit, you can read with Teddy, and he'd be fine. And I mean, Lord of the Rings, you can read with him. I'm sure he'd be fine too. I'm not saying he wouldn't, but it's not like, Harry Potter. The whole thing is designed to be a kid's book, where you can tell when you're reading Lord of the Rings, it's a little bit more, not. Are we gonna keep this on the show? Is this gonna be Lord of the Rings minute?
We can.
We'll keep updating as the progress. See where you are.
Yeah.
Keep reading it.
That's what I'm doing tonight. After we're done here, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go up and read some more.
There you go. Well, all right, everybody. We're going to cold open you again and tell you that this episode is about bombs. It's about motherfucking bombs. And because we motherfucking bomb still. Sometimes. You're just going to eat your fucking dick on stage. So it's good to talk about the times that we do that because they humble us. Sometimes we do good. And we're like, we're the best in the world at this. And it's nice for a group of 50 to 250 people to let you know that you are a piece of shit. Right, Wayne?
That is correct. It's very humbling.
It is. So we're going to do 4 stories tonight for bombs. We're going to go 1 yours, 1 mine, 1 yours, 1 mine. So that we will get across the show that way. So why don't you set the scene of how you got the show that you first bombed at that we're going to talk about, and then what you think led to the bomb, and then what you learned from it. That's going to be the key in tonight's episode. What did we learn from these?
Yeah, so to touch on that real quick, something that I was always taught, not even just comedy, but just in general, is that, you learn from your mistakes, right? Everybody tells you that. And that is especially true in comedy. So when you bomb, one of the things Steve York told us in the podcast was, it's always you. Which I 95% agree with at this point. I do think sometimes there's a point where sometimes you just get a crowd that's just something in the air. But I could say I don't agree at 5% of that, but Steve has proven me wrong every time, because every time I think it's a bad crowd and he's there, they're not a bad crowd anymore. So what do I know? So the show that I'm going to talk about actually involves Steve York.
He was there.
Yeah. It was just a spot given to me by Mike Katrobis. You were on the show. I was on the show. We talked about it with Carolyn Plummer. It was that show where there was the dance floor. The people were spread like the sea. Very
the Polish
very
American
setup.
Club, right?
It was the Polish American Club in Nashua. Yeah. So, I don't know. Mike had gone up. He was hosting. He did some time. They weren't really super receptive to him. So I didn't have high hopes going up. The first couple jokes I didn't get anything really where they normally do. And it kind of threw me off. And I kind of got discouraged, and I stopped putting so much effort into it. Like pretty quickly, which shame on me. And that definitely had a negative impact on the rest of the set, where I feel like I could have won them back, but I didn't. So I know we've talked about that before, so I'll speed through that. But the thing I learned from that was actually taking the advice that, once again, Steve Bjork had given us, where if there are people that are enjoying your set and other people aren't, perform to the people that are enjoying it because they're liking it. So perform to the people that are actually paying attention and laughing. The other thing he said was, perform like there's, 200 people in a room, even if there's only 2. So the interesting thing about that was, I think we talked about the show with only 2 people that I did the week after, right?
I'm sure you mentioned it, but keep it going.
Yeah, so I had that horrible experience. The thing I learned was you just got to keep giving it your all, no matter the circumstances. And I did that the very next week. I took it to heart. Did a show. There was 2 people in the crowd, and I did my best to perform as good well as I could to those 2 people, as did everybody else on the show. And because of that, those 2 people had a great time. They were laughing the whole night at everybody. So,
yeah, my favorite part about this bomb that you had, because I was there, got to enjoy it myself, was I went on right after you, and before I went up, you came over to me and you're like, hey, at least you know it's going to go really bad. At least you just know already that it's going to be horrible. So no pressure. And I was like, God damn, Wayne, what a thing to say to somebody before they go up. You were just in the fog of you just ate a dick. You're like, don't worry, you're going to eat a dick too. That was funny.
It's funny. I walked out, and there was somebody that was in the audience had stepped out. There was 2 doors in the back, and I said that to you. I walked by. Mike came up to me. He's like, "Don't judge your material on that." He's like, "These people are rough." I was like, "Yeah, I know. I got it." And I walked out, and the second I go through the doors, I went, "What the fuck?" And I looked up, and there was a guy standing there on the phone. I was like, "I'm so sorry." He's like, "I got it. I understand."
I know. He's like, I saw that, man. I would say that too. I had a great set afterwards too, which is the best.
Yeah, you did well.
Yeah, that was good. Well, I mean, I was a little slow in the beginning for obvious reasons, but I got it.
All right.
Yeah, Steve crushed. He did great at that one. He just stood in the middle of the dance floor. I was like, smart.
Yeah.
What do you do? What do you do if you're knowing the Caesar parted?
My favorite part about that was Mike Katrobis just had his knee replaced, and Steve Bjork made him go up and get the microphone, go up on the stage that was like 10 feet tall. Watching that motherfucker hobble up the stairs was awesome.
It did make me happy. He was hobbling for a little while there.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So, yeah, you did learn something from that one. That was a fun show in hindsight because it was one that you got to see was conquerable that you gave up on. And that's the biggest lesson you could learn. Because I do the same thing. Where you're like, this crowd is a lost cause. See you guys later.
Mm-hmm.
And you realize that there's a way to win them.
Yeah.
So, similar story for me on my first one I'm going to talk about. I went to Connecticut. You guys have heard about this one. I've talked about it a couple times, but we'll get a little bit more in depth. So I was at the Brouhaha Club at the River Restaurant in Wethersfield, Connecticut. And I went there to open for Mike Katrobis. Also, he's involved in all of our bombs. You'll see. And he took me to a really hard room. So it's one that they order food for during the opener set. You go up completely cold, no host. And you have to try to win the crowd back from certain they can't even listen to you your first 5 minutes because they're all ordering food. So they like, even if you're Dave Chappelle, they cannot listen to you because they have to handle business first. So it was so hard to do that set because I wasn't prepared for it. And that's why I learned a lot from it as well. Just kind of understanding the situation that you're in a set, where if I just stepped back 5 feet, looked at the room and went, okay, so they're all getting menus right now and they're about to call me up. So this isn't a scenario where they've eaten before and they're starting the show afterwards. They are going to start eating now. I think pre that, I would have reacted every time the way that I did. I just did my set. You know, I tried to do this birthdays in the crowd. I tried to do a little bit of that talk. They liked that. But then once I got into material, I started having to set up premises and execute punchlines to people that were looking at menus and talking to waiters. So they just weren't really listening. And god damn, was it hard to get out of that. You know, I was doing controversial stuff, my edgier things in the beginning of the set because I was trying to get their attention. That was a mistake. Really don't want to do that when they're not bought in because then those jokes just feel weird and they need to be earned. So after that, I did the biggest rearranging of my set that I've done in a long time. That was what I learned from it. I learned that you have to, if you can get your set to the point where you can win anybody over in the first 5 minutes, I think after that you can start getting into edgier stuff and maybe you won't lose the people that you gain that way. So that's what I learned from it. And it wasn't that bad of a set. You know, I got laughs where I wanted to. It was just, I hate the cold crowd open. It's so hard to overcome that.
Yeah, it definitely is. You left out a big piece of that story, which was, we've talked about it many times, but Mike's Ray Liotta laugh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I do poorly enough where I'm like, you guys ready for the next comic? Someone's like, yes.
Did that happen? You did? I don't think you told me that.
It might have just been how I felt, but I swear to God, a guy reacted like that. Like, Jesus, yes. Like, I'm gonna go with that's what that guy did because it's funnier that way. But yeah, for sure. And then so I walk back and I'm like, damn, because here's the worst part: I can't eat before I go up, and you got a meal with the show. So I didn't want to turn down the meal because, you know, it's free. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, you can bring it out. I'll just eat it after my set. So I go back there and Mike is like, just really happy that I did bad. And then I have to sit down and eat it like a chicken Statler. Just sad. Just like, this fucking sucks. And then, I set up the feature poorly. Obviously, she had to work her way out of a hole. And then Mike went up and did great. And he came off hobbling like, at the end. Because he was like, he's like, the worst is when you do bad and then someone goes up and does good. And then he went up and he's like, this is how it's done. And he did so good. And he didn't get off the stage and be like, I'm elated from how well I did. I don't even know where I am, like I am. He got off and beeline to me to laugh at me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was great. That was a good one. And then we were on the car ride on the way back, and he was giving advice to us and all, which is great. You learn that type of stuff. And when he was giving advice to the feature, he was like, I think you did great. You went up to an obviously cold crowd and you worked your way out. And I was just in the back with my head down. Like, yep.
He doesn't hold any punches, man.
No, that's why I like him. I would love to hear what people really feel. Because sometimes you're like the most supportive person in the entire world is Jacques Lambert. God, this piece of shit is so supportive. It makes me sick how supportive he is. But anyways, I don't know. I'll never know if a joke is good in front of Jacques. I know he likes the jokes that we do for sure, but he likes every one. He likes every single thing me or you has ever said. And that's great. But it's also nice every once in a while for somebody to be like, "You're a dick," and that joke sucks, and because you need to hear it if that's the case.
Yep.
So yeah, Mike will tell you.
You struck something in me with your story when you thought you heard the guy go, "Yeah." Take a quick side note here.
What a thing! What a thing to happen.
Have you ever ad-libbed something on stage, and as you said it, you're like, "Oh my god, this is not at all in the." You have like a brief, quick glimpse of, "Oh, this would be funny," and you have like a split second between "this will be funny" and saying it, and no time to go, "Oh no, I shouldn't have said that." Have you?
Yeah,
have you done
especially in the beginning.
Yeah, well, I did it actually last night. You saw my video last night. There was one point in a segue, and I said for some reason I was like, "Yo, this would be funny." I'll say now, for something happier or something like that, or on a brighter note. My aunt passed away. In my head, it was funny because it was just kind of like on a brighter note. And then, what the fuck did he just say? And as I was saying, I'm like, this is not going to go well with these people.
I did go. Well, I did because there was no payoff to that. I was like, "What the fuck was that?"
There wasn't, and I had this thing in my head, and halfway through, I abandoned it. I was like, "I'm just going to ignore that," but I couldn't ignore it because some guy over here went a brighter note, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm just joking," and that got a laugh. But I was like, "Man, like I wish I slowed down just a little bit so I could have. Yeah, I'm not going to say that." But in my head, I had this whole thing like, "Oh, that's kind of funny because it's like zigzag," and it just wasn't.
Yeah, I like that set too because you had one joke that didn't work, and you were just like, "Really? No?"
I said, "No, okay."
That's funny. All right.
Yeah.
Your next one.
So my next one, we've definitely talked about as well, but it was my second night. I had 3 nights in a row at Wicked Funny. First was the finals of the Merrimack Valley's Funniest Person competition, which I placed in.
Oh my god, you're gonna do the whole thing where you're like, "I did so good at my other sets" before you talk about the one you did bad in. This is bombs, Wayne. Talk about the bomb.
This ties.
Don't give yourself context. You're giving yourself context. How did you learn a lesson the night before you bombed, you piece of shit? Shut up. You know I'm right. Go ahead.
You're not right. No. I'm giving context.
Yes, exactly. Now it's context. Before it was a lesson. Now it's context.
Fuck off.
Sip.
Listen. So I did because of that night.
You were about to say I did really good. You were about to you're like, "Oh fuck, I'm about to say I did really
Obviously,
good."
I did. One of the two of us played that night.
You just can't give yourself the bomb. You have to fucking.
I'm giving Anthony.
You're compliment sanding yourself. This is
not a dude. I'm giving the context there because it has to do with the lesson I learned the night
so
after.
Did you? All right, let's see where you
Good?
take
Can
this.
I go? Can I continue, sir?
You can go.
Thank you.
You did so good at the contest, Wayne. It just was incredible what happened next.
The night after, same set, different crowd, same place, same set, same everything, just different crowd, and they just weren't having me. Won't go into it. It just wasn't. It wasn't a great night for me. So I guess my lesson on that, I don't really have anything particular. The whole thing was just complete horseshit. I got a couple chuckles here and there, but just did not go well. They did not like me. There was some. I think what happened was there was something in the beginning that I said, and I think the type of crowd that the headliner drew did not like what I had to say, and I think I kind of shut them off to begin with. So I guess where I'm going with that is the lesson I learned that night is I need to work on being able to pivot.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because one night, same set, fantastic. Next night, same set, not. I just assumed that this was going to transpose and it would just be fantastic. But without having that, if I didn't have those side by side, that wouldn't have clicked in my head that I need to learn how to pivot. Where I realized that they didn't like this, so they probably weren't going to like this and this and this. I should have just changed on the spot and done some different material that might have clicked with them a little better.
Sounds like you didn't have any. Sounds like you didn't have any material that would have clicked with them. We're gonna pivot to more shit eating. Here, I'm gonna eat this dog shit over here instead of this time.
No, I think if I had changed and done more of my jokes about my kid, I think they would have liked that a lot more. And I think I would have been able to bring them back, and then my closer would have went over better.
Well, that's the goal then. I want to see you, and the next time you bomb, you better not do your set the way that you plan to do it. That's the goal we got to learn from this. I want you to change it in the middle, because I'll know what you're going to do before you go up there, and pivot. Could you imagine the type of show that we can have afterwards to talk about the conquering of that turnaround? We need one of those. We need one of those. I'm softly bombing into a great set.
Yeah.
Wicked funny. And then Wicked Funny's got Eric Griffin tonight in this world where we're recording now. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, they do. I wonder how that's going.
I was supposed to go over there.
I thought he was tomorrow, but it's actually Paul D'Angelo tomorrow.
Who's also fantastic.
Yeah, I might, I don't know. I'll see how my day goes, but I might swing into that one. Jacques is running the audio board, I believe. So, go say hello.
Nice, yeah, pretty easy to do at a comedy club, huh? You just fucking there.
Well, they do
music in between, right?
Yeah, they do an interstitial.
Did you get walk-up music?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's
it was cool. That was cool. That was a cool feeling having something playing while you're walking up, so it's not like just complete silence or applause. You know, you get the applause in the music. It was a cool.
The
cool
silence
atmosphere.
Silence came after the music when you started talking.
Yeah. You stupid bitch.
All right, so my final bomb. I was out in London, England. And let me tell you about all the sets where this material did really great first before I talk about this so that it couches how bad I did here. Everybody liked it in America. So I was really worried about when I went out there that they weren't going to get my references and that they weren't going to like me because of it. And just like the joke I've been doing, they were right. They fucking hated me. They hated me so bad, Wayne. I went to Farr's Dancing School in Dalston Junction, England, which is right outside. Well, it's in London. It's like a suburb of London. It took me about 40 minutes of train riding and buses to do. I ran down a flight of steps to get onto the tube, and I threw my back out. That was funny because it was right before the set. And I was like... And I had to sit on a train the whole time with that face. And my wife was with me, and she's like, "Are you going to be okay?" And I was like, "I'm going to say my jokes, and they're going to like it." And I fucking couldn't walk. And so I ended up, by a stroke of God, he fucked my back into place right before I got out there. And I'm like, oh, it's meant to be. I'm going to have such a great set now. So I walk inside the venue, and there's nobody in the venue, Wayne. There's fucking nobody there. And there's a bartender who's sitting down at a booth drinking. So very unprofessional of her. Anyways, and she's like, oh, that show doesn't start for another hour. So, you know, you probably should come back. And so I'm like, fuck, the guy told, like, I'm 10 minutes early. What the hell is he talking about an hour here? It's so annoying. So I'm like, well, I have nowhere else to go, and I don't know where I am, so this is where I'm going to be. So I sit down, and I get a drink, and then 10 minutes later, the guy does walk in, and the show is starting in between the two times that they said it was. The guy's like, I'll set up, and I'll start a little later. So it's already a little annoying. It's in the basement of this place. There's about 15-ish people that buy tickets to see it. I'm the feature act, and the way the feature acts in England is, you go. So they have an open mic portion of the show, technically, for people that sign up. You go up as the feature after the MC, do your time, and then they start bringing up the 5-minute guys, and then a headliner closes it out. So it's just they're trying to put like a professional at the beginning, a professional at the end, and then open micers in the middle of it. And by professional, I just mean somebody that does it more than their first time. Anyways, I go down there. I'm really excited. I assume the feature is going to be right before the headliner, like we do it in the fucking golden United States. So I'm like, oh, doesn't really matter how the crowd is. By the time I get up there, they're going to, be used to comedy. So I should be able to hit my jokes pretty good. And then I realized I'm going to be the first person up there besides the MC. So again, I don't really, out here, if there's a host and he does 10 minutes up front, the crowd should be borderline warmed up. So it's not really that much of a different set. So not much stress even there. I think I'm going to do fine. And the MC goes up and he does 10 minutes of straight crowd work. And not good crowd work. Like, there's 15 people here. I'm going to ask every one of them their names and what they do for work type of crowd work. Which is infuriating to me. Oh, my God. We see that in the wild sometimes at shows where there's a guy that goes up and he's, like, not doing well, so he busts out crowd work. He's like, what do you do for work? Pussy. And just down the line, just nothing there. Like that, we saw that one girl that called me a Republican because I said I like Dark Souls. Remember that?
Dude, that was so good. We have the gamers here. We're like, yeah, what do you like? Dark Souls. Republican. It's like, what? What
yeah, exactly.
Dark Souls have to do with Republican?
Nothing. She didn't even know what it was. But anyways, that was the type of crowd work that guy was doing. Just like that. Imagine that for 11 minutes. And then he brings me up, and they don't even know what jokes are at this point because the guy didn't do any. He just talked, so they expect me. So my first joke, the girl in the front row is talking to me during it. Every line I say, she's like, oh, really? Oh, ew. Stupid fucking voices. And they...
Is that acceptable over there?
Is what?
Like, what she was doing. Is that commonplace over there from what you saw?
Yeah, so I was talking to the MC before the show, so this is even like an afterwards thing. This was a before, and he was warning me. And he's like, yeah, we like England heckles. It's part of the show. They're gonna be talking. If the jokes they think it's bad, you're gonna get something. If they think it's good, it's gonna be in like a way that helps it. So they're like almost proud of that they talk during the thing. Mm-hmm. So it didn't throw me off at all. Anytime someone talked, I would like, because there's only 15 of them, I was connected with them at least. I felt proud of that. Where, like when a joke went bad, I'd be like, listen, you don't, like, I might as well be speaking Chinese right now. It feels like that you guys just don't get me. So it didn't really bother me. Like the Connecticut one bothered me because I'm like, why is this happening? I don't get it. I'm doing the stuff that's good. Why don't you like it? And over there, I'm like, I know why you don't like it. You don't get what I'm saying. Like I have a joke about pulling out, and they don't say that there. So I thought that reference was safe, but they didn't know what the hell I was talking about. They did like my London joke though that I came back with. They loved that one. That was the joke I got the biggest laugh on, which makes sense. So it was a pretty. I would say that was the biggest bomb I've had in a while.
Did you record that set?
I think I only recorded half of it. Like Ari has it, and my wife, and I was like, "Throw that in the trash. Throw that right in the trash. That fucking set." But maybe
you can't do that because if we threw away every video you said to put in the trash, we would not have the one of you pulling the stool up at the safe, which is gold.
It is gold. It is nice. Yeah, but it hurts to fly 6.5 hours, almost particularly because you got a gig there, and then to just it be not like. I left almost immediately afterwards.
Hold on. Do you say you flew out there almost particularly because are you insinuating that you flew out there because you got a show?
No, that's not what I mean at all. No. My wife wanted to pick a vacation to where to go, and because two things: A, Patriots playing out there. So my wife will go to England every year if she could because she loves it so much. She loves the Royals, so we go to England all the goddamn time. So I knew if I went out there, and we had Alfie, who listened to the podcast before, was a great guy, Alfie Noakes of We Are Funny. I knew that there was a good chance that I'd be able to get a show if I did go out there. So what I'm trying to say is I picked England to go to, particularly because I knew I'd be able to get a gig if I went out there. So I'm not trying to say I went out there for the gig.
Okay. Gotcha. Continue.
Don't put that stupid sly dumbass smile on. I was very in the fucking. I didn't do anything uncouth.
I didn't say anything. Uncouth.
Yes, you did. You did say this is a podcast.
Uncouth.
I didn't speak uncouthly. That's not a word.
Did you
but
go
yeah,
cut a rug while you were out there too.
I cut fucking. Is that sexual?
Cut a rug is to dance.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it was an old slang for dance.
Sounds like fucking going down on a lady.
Ooh, yeah, it'd be like shaving.
Right. Oh man, yep. So, on that note, I think we're at the end, Wayne. Let's bomb the end of this episode. That'd be a funny way to fucking end it.
You didn't talk about what you learned.
I learned nothing from that one.
Did you take anything away from it? If you didn't learn, did you take something away? Listening to your story, I took something away.
Oh, well, good. I can't wait to hear I see the little fucking smirk on your dumb little face. I'm sure it's going to be mean. Well, what did you learn? Go ahead.
I was just going to say that I think when going to other countries, you need to be aware of the way language. I would say language. The way certain.
God damn! This is so dumb.
Oh my God, the way that certain phrases are used.
I swallowed it. All right, there's. Oh my God, that was so hard to swallow that anger I had for you. I'm getting better. There's a couple months ago, I would have unloaded on you for saying something so stupid. You just spoke for a minute and a half, and you didn't say anything. You do that all the time. You're like, you know what I really learned is that a dandelion picked is a dandelion earned. Like, what the fuck? All right, this is the end of the show. Fuck you guys. Bye. Everybody liked it in America.